everyone, and welcome to Coffee with CR Group, Fall in Love with Microsoft Teams. So a little bit about CR Group. We were established in 1989, and for the last 30 years have been helping companies to use the latest in technology to transform their businesses from end to end. We have a great team of highly tenured experts and consultants across enterprise resource planning, finance, budgeting, business intelligence, cloud migration, collaboration, and human resources. We strive to be the go-to partner for digital transformation, and for many businesses in Ottawa, Canada, and globally, we are just that. As some of you might know, Microsoft has really created a spectacular technology options for businesses with cloud-based integrated systems like Office 365, Dynamics 365, Azure, Power BI. We have loads of resources on all these systems on our website, crgroup.com, and we highly encourage you to explore, because what Microsoft has done is made it easy to pave a path to fully integrate business systems and digital transformation, and that's where we come in. We help businesses assess what systems they have, what they need, and how to get there and reach their organizational goals. Today's webinar is particularly exciting because a common thread across business operations is sharing and collaboration, and Teams is really upping on the bar on what it looks like and what is possible. So meet your presenter. I'm Elizabeth Brown. I'm a business solution consultant here at Corporate Renaissance Group. I've been working here for the last 7 years. Initially, I was working just with SharePoint, but since Office 365 has started expanding and there's new things like Teams and Planner and Forms and Power Apps and Power Automate, which used to be known as Microsoft Flow, I'm involved in a lot more technology, so I'm involved in all these spaces. So the agenda for today's presentation, fall in love with Teams, getting to know the possibilities. So why the focus on collaboration? The intro to Microsoft Teams. So it's something, we're going to cover something from beginners to advanced users. So if you've never seen Teams, you're in the right place. And if you've been using Teams for a while, you'll probably see something new, something different that you might not have seen before. Part of that is because Microsoft is constantly evolving Office 365. So Teams is an evolving project. So that means there's new features added all the time. And so one of the things about using Office 365 is you'll notice there's little differences as you use it. And some of the little new things you might think, oh, actually, that's going to be really, really awesome. So we're going to explore the chat functions. We're going to talk about announcements and posting to multiple channels, making calls, hosting meetings, live events, adding external users as guests, and how to use Microsoft Whiteboard in a meeting. So why is collaboration so crucial? The way companies work is changing. It's a faster pace combined with higher pressure. There's a sense that everything is needed immediately. The ability for more people across teams to collaborate on projects at the same time, the faster the results. Also, in a modern work environment, remote working is key. These days, employees need to be able to share information instantly, wherever they are. With Microsoft Teams, your staff can work together on a secure system while having the freedom they desire. We can see how important collaboration is for today's workforce as more and more people are adopting Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is a hub for teamwork, a chat-based workspace that enables teams to be more productive by giving them a single and secure location, bringing everything together a team needs: chat, meeting, calls, files, and tools, including third-party tools. But is collaboration enough? Collaboration is challenging unless everything is integrated. Most companies are using 3 or more systems. You have a chat system, you have an email system, you have your files are here, they're on a file share, they're in SharePoint, they're in your OneDrive, they're in, Box, they're in Google Drive. You have files all over the place and you're trying to work on the same file. You have emails and your chats, and so Teams is one hub. Everything can be put in one place, and you can access all your collaboration information from one single system. So what is Microsoft Teams? It is a Microsoft collaboration tool. It's a replacement for Skype for Business. So Skype for Business on-premise, where you have it on a server, that's still staying around, but the Skype for Business in the cloud will be going away. Personal Skype, as far as I know, is still staying around. And it integrates with Planner and Forms and all the other Office 365 apps that you may see, like Word and Excel and SharePoint. So it's the fastest growing Office 365 product. Teams launched worldwide in 2017 and is the fastest growing Microsoft business application ever. Teams is now used by 500,000 organizations, including 91 of the Fortune 100. It continues to add helpful information like whiteboard, data loss prevention, live events. So what does Teams offer? Chat plus audio and video calls, meetings where you can share screens, PowerPoints, whiteboards, live events, files, shares, and access to apps. So let's take a look. So within Teams itself, there's 3 sort of different variant versions. There's the desktop application, which is what I have here before you. There's a web browser, which I'm going to show you in a moment, and then there's a mobile version, which I will show at the end if my phone and Chromecast cooperate. I tested it earlier today, and it worked perfectly, so hopefully it will work later on. So this environment here is basically you come in, here's Teams, right? So it's the desktop application. I've got it open, and over here you can see there's sort of this activity chat Teams file. So we'll just go into chat, and you can see it actually starting to give me like little directions. Start a new private conversation here. If anyone's wondering why this seems to be pretty empty, this is not my live Teams, because we do use Teams quite a lot at CR Group, so I don't want to actually inadvertently share something. So if this is just a separate tenant, it's a separate environment, which is part of the reason why it's so empty. But that does mean that if you're coming in for the first time, you see it's giving you, hey, start a new private conversation here. And so it's telling you kind of where to go click. So if I click up there, you can say, hey, it's new chat, start typing a name or group. So if I wanted to talk to Cindy, it's found her name. And so basically, I can just come down here and I type a new message. Hey. And I hit enter. So you can see that's been sent off. And then you can actually see next to it, there's this little sent icon. So I know that that's been sent. And so if I come over here, and please bear with me because I am going to be sort of talking back and forth. Hopefully I got the right one there. Yes. So I'm in, this is logged in as Cindy, but it's the web version. And as you can see, it looks pretty much the same. You've got the same sort of bar along the left. And then you can see where it has a chat, and it's got this little 1 on it. That's saying, hey, there's something new. And I can see that this little Elizabeth Brown guest sent me a hey. And if I go click on that, I can read the message and then respond to it and just say, hi, back, sort of thing. And then because the desktop app has pop-ups, it's popping up, and I got this little pop-up, hey, hi back, right? And so then I can actually hit reply right here and just do send a quick reply. So there's a lot of greetings going on back and forth. And then because this one was open, there's no notification because you're right on that screen. So it just pops up on the screen, but you don't get that same little red arrow, sort of little red circle saying, hey, something's changed, because you're right on the screen as it pops up, which makes a lot of sense. So that's sort of very basic back and forth. If I flip back here, you can see before where I had that little sent icon, you can see now that there's actually this little eye, and that's saying that that message has been read. So I know that Cindy's actually seen this message. So it's kind of a useful feature in terms of, oh, have they actually even had a chance to see that message and they just haven't had a chance to respond yet, or maybe they haven't even seen it. You see if I hover over sort of the message, there's just more options. So I can actually go back and edit messages. I can delete the message. The edit and delete does have a time frame. So if you sent a message to someone 3 weeks ago, you're not going to be able to go back and delete it. But if you send a message and you're like, oh, wait, I want to change that, or, oh, there's a typo, then you can go and edit it right away or delete it right away. The immersive reader just allows you to, it has an add-in that will start trying to read the message out loud. So it's sort of an accessibility if you're someone who has visual issues, then the immersive reader will try to read the text out loud for you. As well, some of the other ones, so you can kind of like it, you can heart it, you can have a bunch of reactions that you can do towards those different comments posted by other people. So that's some of the sort of very basic text chatting. The other thing I can do, so you see if it comes down here, when I have the new message, I can click on format. And then I can actually do sort of a 1-line, 2-line, 3-line, so that you can kind of format the message a bit more. If I wanted to, you can see that there's like sort of bold, italics, underline. So there's a bunch of sort of different formatting you can put. There's highlighting, text formatting. This other one down here is a bit useful. It's a link. So if I wanted to, I could actually put like a link to Google or something like that. And so when I insert that like that, which is just taking a second, oh, you can see it's right here. There's the link there. So then it's put a link in there as well. And then there's, of course, there's some more options like the code snippet. If anyone here is a programmer, it's useful because you can actually share code snippets back and forth. So if you select this, it will allow you to say like it's C# or JavaScript. I'm not sure how applicable that is for most people watching this, but you can do other things like insert a horizontal line, so you can separate your messages. So you can make it more like an email. And again, you can like put tables. So there's like an undo, redo. So if I just send that off like that, you can see that it's put that line in there, and there's some formatting. And you can again see with these little tabs, this one's been sent, but this message has been read. So you can kind of track where people have gotten to in your messages. So if I go back, so if I come back here to Cindy, you can see I'm seeing the sort of messages sent here. And then you'll notice that between the desktop version and the web version that there's going to be slightly different functionality. So if you look down here, you'll see that some of these options are a bit different. One of the things here is you can set delivery options on a message. So this is sort of the standard delivery where you're just saying, oh, it's going to be sent as usual. You can have like a sort of important, which just marks it as important, basically. And when it comes in, it's going to be, hey, this message is really important, so that it kind of highlights it a little bit. And then there's more than important, there's urgent. So what that's going to do is it's saying this message, this is something really, really urgent. I really need your response. You're going to keep getting notifications every 2 minutes for 20 minutes until the person actually responds. So let me send this off. So you can see how that got sent here, and then I get this little urgent pop-up right now. And if I have ignored this completely, so I don't respond to it, it's going to keep coming up to every 2 minutes. So it is useful. I mean, it's one of those policies that you kind of probably, if you're starting to roll out Teams or you've been using Teams, you might want to start putting a policy in place about when people are actually going to use urgency and stuff like that, so that it's not something that's misused. Because if people start misusing it and they're like, I just get notified all the time, I'm getting notified every 2 minutes, and it's really, really frustrating, then, you know, that's where they might start saying, hey, I don't like Teams because of this, so this is where having policies around like what actually should constitute an urgent message could be good. And again, it's sort of, sometimes it's organizational dependent. I mean, if you're an organization of 50 people, you might have different policies than an organization of 2,000 people, right? So, so you can see, there I am, there's the urgent message. And so now I've seen it, so it's going to stop sending that to me. So there's a lot of useful features in Teams, but some of them you kind of need to think about when you want to use them and how you want them to be used. So if I flip back here to this guest, so you can see there's an attached file. So what that does is, you see when I hit attach, there's OneDrive and upload from my computer. So everything that's shared within a chat is automatically saved to your OneDrive. So even if I did upload from my computer, that file is going to be stored in my OneDrive and then automatically shared with the people that I'm chatting with. So you can see I'm uploading an Excel file here. It's just actually uploading it from the computer, so you can see that green bar as it's going across. I can add a message with this, and then send it. And so you can see that's being sent off. And so you can see I got a shared message because it's been put in my OneDrive and shared with that user automatically through that process of attaching the file. And then there's a little pop-up from my desktop application. Please look at this. So I'm going to close that for the moment. And so that file that I've shared is actually, you see there's this Files tab up here. If I go click at that file, I can see, oh, there it is, and who it's shared with. So all the files that I get shared in this chat with this particular person, I can always go back to the Files tab, and I can find all the files that I shared with them. You can also obviously directly share a file right from here as well, but it can be easier to do it from here. But it can be also a quick way of finding your file again. So this activity tab here is just going to show you if there are both any teams you have in common. It will show you team activity as well, so that you can kind of see, oh, what did they say. So it can be useful if you're like, wait, where was that message from Cindy? Was it, oh, rather in this case it'd be from Elizabeth, and then you can go look in the activity and say, oh yeah, that's where it was in that channel, in that team, which we will expand on more right now because we're still on the individual chat to chat. There's some other things down here, so you can put in happy faces, there's GIFs, so you can add in different GIFs and stuff like that. So you can put stickers where there's sort of almost, you know, there's a whole bunch of meme ones and different ones, so you can just kind of pick one off and say, hey, be creative, and send that off. So you can have a bunch of sort of fun things like that that make it more interesting for people to use and to allow them to be a bit more creative. If you're afraid of people overusing this or misusing this, you can create policies. So there's like a sort of organizational-wide policy where you're like, no, we just don't want that at all. We're going to turn that off. You can say, okay, for this particular team, because this is going to be more of an informal sharing collaboration space, we'll allow it on this team, but then this team, because of the issues we're dealing with, maybe because of some legal concerns, we want to make sure that people are more formal and professional and less sort of creative and fun. So let's turn it off on this channel, on this sort of team. So you can do it sort of across the organization or on a team-by-team basis. So those are stickers. There's like a meet now, so you can organize a meeting with this person, and then you can actually, you can see that there's an organizer attendees, and you can actually invite other people. I mean, if you've been using Outlook, this looks pretty similar. It's got a start time, end time, location, the title, details. I mean, it's pretty straightforward for scheduling a meeting. We'll talk a little bit more about actually hosting meetings, but you can see that you can actually just quickly schedule a meeting from it within the channel itself. The next one here is Stream, and so Stream is Microsoft's sort of Office 365 video storage solution for within a company, so you can have like your sort of company videos within it. There was an older product called Videos that it's replacing. It's kind of useful. It automatically creates transcripts and stuff like that, so you can just link to it here if you want to share a streamed video, so a company internal video. There's Praise. So Praise is basically, it came out a little while ago, so it's a way of like thanking people and being, so you can say, hey, thank you. And so it's just sort of a way of showing acknowledgement. I can hit the preview, and then you can see it sort of sends this little card like this of just sort of like, hey, thanks, sort of how it looks like. If I flip back just 1 second, I'm going to show you here. You can actually see the thank you card a bit more with like the thumbs up and all. As I mentioned, because this is the web version, you're not always going to get the exact same look and feel. So this one, the card here is sort of truncated, but when I'm in the desktop application, I see it properly. So that's Praise there. There's a little weather app, so if you want to share weather, you can kind of add that in and say, hey, what's the weather like in Ottawa today? I believe it's very cold. Actually, it's saying it's not. Oh, that's Fahrenheit. That's Fahrenheit. That is cold. So I can send that off as well. And then there's like a places, which can be useful. So if you're having a place, let me add this in. So basically, I can put in like, hey, we'll do 100 Queen Street. So I'm just going to search for that. So it doesn't want me to confirm my location, so we'll just use that location. And then it's got, that's currently in New Brunswick. But so So if you're talking to someone about having a meeting and saying, hey, this is the location, you can actually use the places to actually very easily send them a map to that particular location. So it can be pretty useful that way. So there's a lot of ways of communicating, and you can make it very, it doesn't have to be very, it's not just text-based. It can be much more image-driven because it's very easy to add in GIFs and images and praise. And there's other things too, like if for whatever reason you need to watch the news, so you can share news links pretty easily. So again, it does prompt you to add it. So I can put in Microsoft Teams, and I can see what news comes up about that. So there's a defense here of Teams daily active using. So there's an article about Teams there. So there's a number of sort of, if there was something in the news that you wanted to share, you could share it. Then again, there's stocks and Wikipedia articles and YouTube videos if you want to share this way. So there's quite a lot of ways of making the chat very dynamic and interesting. One of the things that I've been talking back and forth about is sort of how you see the notifications. The other thing is you see this activity up here, right? So that will actually sort of show you some of the chats that have come through. So if I'm here, I can see like the chat notification comes here, but it also comes from like this urgent chat with Cindy showed up here. So the activity sort of shows you what's been going on and sort of what chats you've been mentioned in. The other thing that I can do here is, so I'm talking to one person, but if I wanted to, I could actually add additional people so that instead of just talking to one person, I could talk to a couple of people. So if I was just doing a new chat, and I could just pick a couple of people. And so then I actually can just have a chat window with two people. Yeah, I'll put in actually, let's just add Cindy first. So if I put Cindy, you can see here's all the chat I've been having with Cindy. But when I start adding another person, then what will happen is it's saying it's starting a new conversation. So all that stuff I had with Cindy is still private, and Louise isn't going to see it because it's going to be a brand new conversation. And so, yeah, you can add in a third person and then just say, and so that would be a message sent to all three of those people. And then if those were three people, for whatever reason, I actually talk to quite a lot, what I can do is I can kind of sit there and click on this little pencil next to them, and it says give them a group name. So I could call it like coworkers and save. And then what that's done is then you see I'm saying it says I'm chatting with coworkers, right? And so that means if when I want to come into a new chat, I can actually start typing the name of that group, and it'll pick those three people automatically for you. So I mean, that's kind of another cool little thing too, that you can just kind of add a bunch of people together. So one of the things to think about with this is when you're chatting with them this way, it's pretty informal because you're just sort of defining it as you need. And so when you have teams, you're also chatting to a group of people, but it's going to be kind of a bit more formally defined instead of you just kind of picking three people and saying, here's my little group, because I'm using this coworkers group, but it doesn't exist for the other people. They just see all three names. They could make their own group and call it something else, but it's still more of an informal ad hoc process where the teams becomes a little bit more formalized. We're going to get to that in just a second. I want to switch back again. Sorry, I hope everyone's staying with me because there is a lot of switching back and forth. One of the things I can do is here is so you can see again, I've got this little notification bell and the little recent, and if I go into the activity, it should show up there in a moment. But I'll go back to the chat. So if I'm in this chat here and I'm talking back and forth and I'm like, actually, this would just be a lot easier to have a conversation, you can see over here, this is actually audio call. So you can just click on that and we'll allow it to use the microphone, but then let me try and turn this off right away. And so you can see that actually calling, so if I answer, or I'm just going to hang up, and then it actually forwards to voicemail. So you can see that there's this calling function built in right from the chat window itself. So you can see this is just actually going to voicemail, so I'm going to hang up on that one. And so not only is there a little video call, there's also, sorry, an audio call. There's also a video call. So I can come in here and click video call, and again, I can do the same thing. So let me actually answer that. And so I'm very sorry about that. I was trying to have everything muted, so I wasn't going to have a horrible, like, back and forth from calling myself. But you can see I actually have managed to mute things. And so making this video call here, you can actually see that there's a bunch of actions you can do within the video call. You can kind of transfer it. You can put the person on hold. There's like turn off the incoming video if you're having a bad connection and you can't see it very well. You can share your screen. So you can kind of say, oh, I want to share my screen. Or if there's a PowerPoint presentation within this chat, you could share it there. Trying to get to this view, I think. So the other thing I can do is you can actually blur your background and you can record it as well. I can't do this when I'm talking to myself. It's too confusing. So I'm just going to hang up on this. It is possible. There's normally just a prop, but when you're trying to talk to yourself back and forth and I can't remember which screen I'm on and trying to talk to you, I'm sorry, it's a little too much. But once you kind of dismissed it, it always asks you what the call quality is like, and you can say it was good or bad. And I think Microsoft is monitoring this to try and make sure that the call quality is really, really good. I'm just going to dismiss it because I didn't really get an accurate reading on that. So that's how you can use the audio call and the video calls. So you can do that with like a single person if you're just chatting to a single person. And if you're chatting to multiple people, you can also come over here and you can see you can do an audio call with multiple people or a video call with multiple people. With this call, I'm not calling like a landline. I'm not calling a mobile phone. I'm just calling someone using the Teams application. So they should be able to respond using the Teams application. So if I go over here to calls, you can see there's sort of like a speed dial where if I'd been using this more often, there would be more contacts here, right? So I could go add speed dial and say, let's add Louise to that. And so then that contact shows up here. And then you can see again, there's like a little call contact, a little video call. And if I did call contact, you see it's the same as calling from within the chat window. And then it's just asking why we started it and ended it so soon. So I'm just going to go, and so you see it takes me back to the chat here. But if I go back to the calls, you can see that there's actually this voicemail messaging here. So you can actually leave someone a voicemail, and then that would show up here under voicemail. It's going to show you the history of the calls I've made. So you can see I called the Elizabeth Brown account and the Louise Harris account. It's very, very similar. It's just a more direct interface to just making a call over here, but you can also do it through the chat window. One of the things you can do is you can add in, so with the sort of base like Office 365 licensing, for the most part, unless you're using like the Enterprise E5 license, you're just going to be able to call other Teams users. So they're going to be responding using the Teams app. If you do want to, you can add in, there are additions you can add in so that from here you can actually call landlines and call like mobile phones and stuff. So you're just calling someone's cell phone directly. You're not calling them using the Teams app on their cell phone. With the E5, a lot of that's included, but otherwise you have to just do add-ons on your licensing. So it'd be like so much per user per month. When we get into a little bit more with Teams meetings, you can also add phone numbers. So you can have like a audio conferencing added as well. And again, there's going to be additional cost for that unless you're sort of using the E5 licensing. Even if you're using the E5 licensing, I think you're still going to have to pay for minutes. You're going to need to have sort of like a how many minutes per month that you want to call. So it is possible. We have a client who is in the process right now of completely replacing all their phones are going to be used through Teams. They're just going to have headsets. There's going to be soft phones connected into Teams, and all their calling is going to be done through Teams. So it's definitely something you can do. If you're interested in pursuing that further, we'd be very happy to help, but there's just a lot of licensing and pieces that need to be in place to get that to happen. So as you can see, we've been kind of looking at it a little bit. We looked at sort of the chat and the calls. So let's go into the Teams, which is sort of, this is the whole part of the Teams, right? And so basically, when you come into Teams, if you're a member of Teams, all the teams you're a member of, you're going to see here. And you can see it actually looks sort of pretty similar to the chat. There's like, hey, here's the sort of chats that are going on within this team, right? And if I go down here because I want to start chatting to people, this interface looks pretty much the same. I can like click up, and here I can make it a little bit, you know, I can do the sort of one-line, two-line thing I was doing before. There are a few extra things here, if you notice, that there's like a subject line which doesn't show up in the chat window, one-to-one chat, so you can actually add a subject. So you could say, Teams is amazing. And then again, you have the same sort of like add a link, do some paragraph formatting, the same sort of urgency, whether you want to mark it as important, whether you need to, you know, so there's very similar functionality. There's this other thing up here where you see it says new conversation. If I click on that, you can also make it an announcement. And so what the announcement does is it allows you to add in a headline, so you can make it look even more sort of more visual, more impressive. And then there's this sort of little icon back here, so you can go set a background image. And then it's just got like, hey, make sure your image has got this sort of pixel size. So you can actually put a background image. I don't think I have anything readily available, so I'm not going to do that right now. Then I can just sort of send that off, and it makes it look a little bit more visual than the way it might otherwise look. And it's put this little sort of bar over here that, hey, it's an announcement, so it's sort of broadcasting information. Unfortunately, it doesn't really change anything with the notifications. I was really hoping when I first saw it that like it would sort of kind of pop up in everyone's activity feed and stuff like that. So it'd be like, hey, everyone, like, you want to like push this more to the forefront, but it doesn't do that. Microsoft has a website called Microsoft User Voice, and for all the Office 365 products, for Teams, for Planner, for SharePoint, they allow you to go in and vote on new features. So it's something that people actually want it, you could go vote on. So there's a few other things I wanted to talk to you about as well here. There's this post in multiple channels. So if you have a post where you're like, actually, I think this could be useful in multiple places, if you go click this post in multiple channels, you'll have multiple options. I'm going to just switch quickly between users because this user is only a member of one team, so I can't really show this very well. So let me just switch over here, and I'll come into a separate user where they're a member of 3 different teams. And so again, you can see over here, here are the different teams, and then you can see sort of the different channels. And this is bolded as saying, hey, something's changed here. And you can kind of see this sort of yesterday, and then here's what happened here. So and if I went and clicked on this post in multiple channels, it just gives me the select channels, and then I can say post here and post here, and so that's going to post it in 2 channels. Let's just go send that off. And so you can see that's here in the general, and then if I go up here, you'll see it here. So that's been posted in 2 places. So sometimes that's useful. It's a feature I've used myself to cross-post between different channels. The other thing is you notice here where it says start a new conversation, type @ to mention someone. It's because this is like a channel conversation. A lot of the notifications are just going to show up. So if I come in here and I click on the team, you can see it's just showing that these teams are bolded because something's changed. But it's not very noticeable what's gone on. It's just saying, hey, it's bolded, there's something new. So the @ mention is useful to get people's attention, to say, hey, you know, pay attention to this. So if I could do like if I could type, so I could do @Cindy, and then that means she's going to receive a sort of more personalized notification on the channel saying, hey, something here, someone's mentioned you, it's going to show up in the activity, so it's going to be easier for her to be notified that there's a new message. I'll just quickly show you that. So if I go back over here, you can see that the @ mention showed up here, and then you can see it showed up here in the activity. So it's easier just to be like, hey, what happened, to find out what's going on. So that's kind of where the @ mention is useful. The other thing I want to mention is you can also @ mention a whole group. So this is their group. Yeah. So I can actually pick the whole group and mention them, and then the whole group is going to get a notification, and if for whatever reason they have Teams off, they're going to get an email notification saying, hey, someone's trying to reach you in Teams. So it can be really useful because you're getting the attention of everyone in the team. It can also be sort of misused because if you don't, everyone in the team doesn't necessarily need their attention brought to that right now, then they can kind of get annoyed with it that they're getting all these notifications. So it's another area where you really want to think about what policies you want to put around when you want people to mention the team instead of and how you want to allow that. Again, you can, because the Teams does allow you control, it is something you can kind of say, actually, we're going to just disable this because we feel like people are misusing it. So you can kind of turn it off if you need to, or you can kind of just have guidelines around when people should be doing this. There's another thing here too on this Teams conversation, which is the Teams message, which is a little bit different, which is everyone can reply. So if I click on that, you can see it says everyone can reply and you and moderators can reply. So within a team itself, as I mentioned, it's a little bit more formal. It can be a bit more formal than a chat because you have sort of a defined group of users. So you can also define what the moderators are. So the moderators have to be done on a channel basis. They can't be done on a sort of team basis. Basically, you come in here and you do manage channel, and then you can see that it says set channel moderation preferences, and I can't actually set channel moderators. I can't set the channel modifiers because this is, I'm using Chrome for this, and so Chrome doesn't have all the features. Each web browser is going to have slightly different features for the web application, and the desktop application is going to have all the features. So in order to show this, I'm actually going to have to go into the desktop application. So I'm switching back to the desktop application. Now, because this is a demo tenant, and so I'm logged in as a guest, I wouldn't actually be able to do it here because guests are normally quite limited in what you can do. So again, you see I'm not actually able to do it. Because Teams is part of like a collaboration space, and so you can actually invite people from other tenants into your tenant. We'll demo that in a little bit, but what I want to just show is, so when you're invited, there's going to be a little switcher here. So I'm just going to switch back to the actual corporate Renaissance group, and as you can see, it's much busier. So we're just going to go in here, and what I can do is when I go into Manage Channels here, so then you can see, I saw this yesterday, and now I can't find it, and it was right in here in the channel settings. It was about allowing, you could actually go and turn on the moderation settings. So I'm very sorry, but normally you would be able to go in here, and then it would allow you to actually pick people for the moderators. And I'm not sure why it's not showing up right now, but I will just continue on. So, but normally that's where you would go to set the moderators. And so when you actually say in a post here that only the moderators can reply, that's where you'll be able to actually define those moderators. So the other thing that you can do within the Teams is you can actually, sorry, let me go back here. So okay. The other thing you can do is you can set up different channels. So I can add another channel here. So let's say this is the testing channel. And so the idea with this is that it's sort of within the group that there's different groups that would be able to chat back and forth. So it's creating a duplicate chat window here. So you've got the sort of general chat where everyone's chatting more generally. The general chat is always created whenever you create a team, and then you have the testing chat, which is down here. Again, for both of these, you can see that there's sort of this files here where all the files that are stored within this chat. So again, if you're attaching files, the files will be found over on this Files tab. One of the things that's really important to note is that a team is built on a SharePoint site. So there's a type of site called a SharePoint team site, and every time you have a team, on the back end of it, there's a SharePoint team site, and that's where all your files are stored. And that's why when I see right here on this Files tab, it says Open in SharePoint. So if I had any files here, I would be able to see them. So I could actually just go and create a new file really quickly. And so that's already saved, that document. And so you can see there's a document in there, and if I go back to the team and just let me refresh this view, so you can see there's the document. So it doesn't matter if you add the document to Teams, if you're sharing it to a post, if you're attaching it here, that document's going to be stored back here in this Files tab. It's going to be stored in SharePoint, so you can get to it from SharePoint, you can get to it from Teams. You can work with the file here. There's sort of a bunch of ways you can say, I want to open it in Word online, which is the sort of browser version of Word. I want to open it in Word proper, or I want to just edit here in Teams, where it gives you a little editing window within Teams itself. The other thing that you can do, so this is something that people have actually been asking for from Microsoft for a really, really long time, and they sort of recently released it, and it's pretty new, is you can come in here and you can create a private channel. So you can say it's only accessible to specific subsets. So for whatever reason, you have some confidential information that not everyone in the team needs to see, you can kind of create a team like that, and then it's going to prompt you to add people to it. It's going to add it and say, who do you want to add to this? And so only the people added to it are going to have access, and that's it. Everyone else won't be able to see it because it's sort of a confidential team. So, and then one of the things is all the confidential ones, you can see that they put this little sort of block next to it to let you know that it's confidential. It's pretty useful. It's got the same sort of thing. You see it's posts and files, and the files are stored in SharePoint. Again, so similar basics. Unfortunately, with the sort of general ones, if I come in here and I want to add in a bunch of tabs, so you can see I could add in quite a lot of things within the Office 365 space. You can add in Power BI, Planner, which is sort of a project management tool provided from Microsoft. You can add in OneNote and Forms. Forms is like a survey type tool, part of Office 365. Add in an Excel file. You can link to a Word file, a SharePoint site. So you can put in a page from a SharePoint site or a list from a SharePoint site. Stream, which is, again, the video software, so you can have a link to a video. So you can add quite a lot of things here. And then you can see there's like a whole bunch of third-party options. There's like Oodles and Oodles. So if you're using a third-party tool, there might be an option so you could integrate that right in here. But in the confidential one, if I go into the tab, there's much more limited. I can still add in something, but there's like, you wouldn't be able to add in a planner the same way. So you're just more limited to what you can add into the tab. So sometimes if there's something you really, really want, like you want a planner, you wouldn't actually be able to add that into this private channel. I believe it's something Microsoft is working on, but currently as of this time, you can't do it, unfortunately. So let's go and talk a little bit. So one of the things I want to talk about was adding a guest user. So basically, when you're adding the team, right? So, sorry, I need to switch. I need to go to the user who's actually the owner, right? So if I want to add a member to this team, I can actually add in, you can add in like external users. If you're trying to do this on your own and it's not working, it might be because it's disabled. So it is like an organizational wide setting, and it can be turned off that you're not allowing guests and stuff like that. But basically, I'm just going to add the guest like that. So you can see that's a Gmail account, so it's not someone who has an Office 365 tenant already. And now just bear with me for a moment. I'm going to have to sign into that Google account. So then you can see there came in this request to join. So it's saying here you've been added to the CR group, and then you can go open up Teams. Let me just find out of Teams here. Sorry. No. Let me move that down. Sorry, I'm getting things in the way. So let me sign out first, just because otherwise it's going to try and give access to Cindy and say what's going on. So let's find out. So let me go back to this email. So you can see it's saying you've been added as a guest. It's going to prompt you to open it. Come on, open Teams. And so then again, it's just going to say sign in. then it's just asking me to get rid of passwords. And so then it's going to ask you for permissions and stuff, saying it wants to sign you in and look at your email, name, email address, and photo. So you just have to accept that. If you don't accept that, you're not really going to be able to use the application. And then it's giving you a prompt. Do you want to download the application? So I'm just going to say I want to use the web app. So I'm going to cancel that, use the web app. And so even though this is a Gmail account that doesn't have an Office 365 license attached to it, I'm still able to log in to Teams. And as you see, I've been added to this team, so I have access to everything within this team. And you can see it's the exact same look and feel. And that does mean that then you can use that team to join into a meeting. I'm going to just close this window now, and then let's go back to this one. So let's just show meetings quickly. So one of the options here is you have Meet Now. If I click that, you can see then I can do Meet Now, I can do Schedule a Meeting. So I'm just going to do Meet Now, and then it's going to pop up. And then I should be able to quite quickly. Anyways, let's just mute this. So you can turn off your camera if you're, especially if if you find that it's getting laggy and stuff, turning off the camera can help. So there's like a bunch of sharing options here. So you can see I can do a screen share, I can do PowerPoint share, and there's also this whiteboard. And so this InVision whiteboard has been there for a really, really long time. And what you have now is the Microsoft whiteboard, which is that just automatically part of it. And then it's just about to load the whiteboard. And so there you go. And now I have a whiteboard in the meeting. And so people can write on it, they can work together, and so you can all sort of collaborate on a whiteboard within your team's meeting. Unfortunately, right now, like the ability to export the whiteboard isn't really great. So if you want to keep the information afterwards, I was kind of hoping that it would just sort of automatically save it in the SharePoint site. You'd have it like in a little like folder within the channel, but it doesn't do that. What it does is, what you want to do then is just like take a screenshot of it afterwards and save that image somewhere. Hopefully Microsoft keeps building on the functionality so that then the whiteboard does save automatically, but right now it's not there, so that's a little bit unfortunate. But as you can see, the meeting functionality is pretty similar to actual calls and stuff like that. So we're just going to exit out of this. I just want to show a few more things. So we kind of talked about like the activity tab, the chat tab, the teams. We mentioned the calls. So the files here, these again, it's just going to show you sort of recent files, the files you've opened up recently. And then your Microsoft Teams is showing you the files from all the teams you're a member of. So it's going to be specific for each user because it's kind of going to group those together. So if you think the file is stored within a Teams, this is one place you can come and look for it. And then OneDrive is obviously just showing you what files you have stored in your own personal OneDrive. You see that Microsoft Teams chat file folder? That's the folder that's going to store all the files shared within your chats with different people. They'll actually just be added to that file already. So the last thing I want to talk a little bit about quickly, I'm running out of time here, is there is what's called a live event. So when you click on this calendar, it's basically just a calendar view. It looks a lot like Outlook. Most of it's pretty similar. You've got like new meeting, schedule meeting. So, I mean, it's pretty similar. The only thing is if you do new meeting, so this is just a new meeting, you have like channels to meet in. If you want to meet in a Teams channel, you can invite a bunch of people. But the other option they've added is you've got new live event. So I'm just going to call this live event. Locations, we don't have any set up. It's just got date, time, details. And then you can see that I'm the organizer, and so I can actually invite other people. So we'll add Doug here, and I can make him a presenter as well. So I'm not inviting it to a bunch of people. I'm just saying who I want to be presenters at this live event. So if I click next, right now public settings are actually turned off for this organization, so I can't share it with everyone. So I can just say org-wide, everyone in the event can come in, but they need to sign in to get to this event. You can see there's a bunch of options about recordings, about attendee engagement reports, about another sort of, here's a support link. So if you want a custom support link, you can add that in there. And then you basically click schedule, and then that's going to go schedule that link, and then you have this get attendee link that can be sent to a bunch of people. And then if I go click join, it will actually get started. It will sort of start spinning that up. I'm just going to do join and do cancel. Let me see. It's going to put it in the app. Okay, so since we're sort of running out of time, I won't actually show it. It does allow you to kind of queue up different presenters when you're actually within it, and then you can sort of show it and demo it. One of the questions was, why aren't you using Teams live events for this webinar? It's a really good question, and the main reason we're using it is we're not using Teams is because we have a whole subscription process where people can sign up, and we haven't really replicated that in Teams yet. We will do another webinar about live events in the future. It's just, unfortunately, we're running out of time right now. The other question is, does Alation integrate with Teams? Yes, it does. It depends on exactly what you want it to do. So it might not do everything you want it to do in terms of like, here's Alation, here's Office 365, they're like a perfect meld. It probably wouldn't do that, but you can add Alation tabs and tasks and stuff. So there are links to Alation that you can do from Office 365 from Teams. So it's something we would be very happy to help you with, investigate. We have people here who are experts in Alation, and we have many people who are experts in Office 365, so we're very happy to help you with that. I guess someone asked me, what is user voice? I believe I mentioned it a few times. It's a website you can go and vote. So basically, if you're in Google and you just do Microsoft user voice, and then it actually comes up. So it's customer feedback, so it's office365.uservoice.com. And so if there's a feature using Office 365 and you really want a feature, you can search on your website, see if anyone else has created that issue, and then if they have, you can go vote on the issue if you really want them to bring out that feature. And if you add a comment too describing how you're going to kind of use it, it actually helps because Microsoft does read the comments and they do respond. And so you can also see responses from Microsoft, hey, we're working on this, we put it in our roadmap, it's going to come out. When creating a meeting invite, can this also be synced with our Outlook calendar? Yes, so one of the ways you can do it is if you actually are in Outlook, the calendar is going to be the same. So if you're creating that meeting invite, it will be in your Outlook calendar. And from Outlook itself within your calendar, sorry, come up. There is a new Teams meeting that you can use. That really saying don't show, but it's okay. So basically up here, there's like this is a new Skype meeting. Sorry, I don't have the right options, but there's like a new Teams meeting up on that bar. Oh, okay. So another question is about file storage when editing a document. Is it live editing? Where is it saved? So the documents are either going to be saved in your OneDrive or within SharePoint. And because it's stored within SharePoint and OneDrive, you're going to get things like version features. So you're automatically getting version control. So especially if you're collaborating on a document, I don't know how familiar you are with this, but within Office 365, you have co-authoring. So you can have a Word document open where multiple people are editing the same Word document. And Microsoft is going to be kind of stacking those edits so that all the edits that I do, that's going to get bundled up in my version, and then the edits that you're going to do is get bundled up in your version. So it's just storing it as versions, and it's being stored in SharePoint or OneDrive. If documents are edited, okay, it doesn't notify the channel that you've edited a document. You would have to sort of post, like if you pin the document. So if I'm within a team here and I wanted to come in, so I can add a document up here. So if I say I want to pick like an Excel file, I think there might be one here. So unfortunately there's no files, but if I pick a file from this location, then you see it's giving me a post to this channel about this tab. So it will allow you to post when you add a tab, but it doesn't really allow you, it doesn't post automatically when you just edit a document within it. Oh, we're a little bit over time, I'm sorry for that, but I hope everyone found this informative and useful. And sorry, recap slide. So as we said, Microsoft is a collaboration tool. It builds on and integrates with different Microsoft products. Microsoft Teams is experiencing incredible growth, so expect new functions to be added consistently. as we went through all the questions. And again, thank you, and contact us to learn more. We're very happy to help you with any of your Teams related questions. Thanks again for joining us, and I hope everyone has a great day.